Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. My name is Emma Loughney, and I'm the Communications Manager with the Fulbright Commission in Ireland. You're all very welcome to this webinar on the 2017-2018 Fulbright Irish Awards. The presentation should take approximately 30 minutes, and we will have time for a short Q&A session afterward. You can type questions in the chat box at that stage. We'll won't be answering any questions during the presentation if possible, just so we can go through the points, and then if you have queries afterwards, please do ask. If there's lots of questions in the Q&A, we may follow up with you. Ireland, also known as the Ireland United States Commission for Educational Exchange, is the main body for educational exchange between Ireland and the USA. The Fulbright program was established in the US in 1946 by Senator J. William Fulbright, with the aim of increasing mutual respect and understanding between nations following World War II. It's now established in 155 countries worldwide, awarding approximately 8,000 awards per year, and in total 310,000 awards have been presented worldwide. The Commission was established in Ireland in 1957 and written into legislation in 1991. It's supported by the US Department of State and the Department of Foreign Affairs, and annually awards grants for Irish citizens to study, research, or teach in the US, and for Americans to do the same in Ireland. Over 2,000 postgraduate students, scholars, and professionals have participated in the programme between the US and Ireland so far. So why apply for a Fulbright Award? Well, the awards are globally recognised. They are associated with excellence. They will open up a global network for you and give you an opportunity to have a very unique experience, offering lifetime interaction with fellow awardees and alumni. So what Fulbright does? Well, we provide funding, administrational support, promotion of the awardee's work, and an opportunity to engage with a new network, those at your host institution in the US, as well as fellow Fulbright alumni in Ireland and around the globe. We welcome applicants from all disciplines, students, scholars, and professionals. There are 4 award categories that you can apply through, and you must choose one award category. For all of these categories, the application period is now open, and the deadline is 28th of October 2016. So the first category, the Irish Student Awards, are for postgraduate research or degree programs in the US. The Irish Scholar Awards are for academic or professional research or lecturing in the US. And the Irish Tech Impact Awards are for academic, professional research in cross-disciplinary information, communications technology in the US, while the Irish FLTA Awards are to teach the Irish language in the US. So all of these categories are open to Irish or EU citizens. The Fulbright Award offers a monetary award, visa administration, accident and emergency health insurance, orientation and programming, support during your academic year in the US and on return. So all applicants for the Irish Awards must apply to Ireland, to the Irish Commission, and will be shortlisted and then interviewed in Ireland. So I'll go through the timeline for shortlisting and interviewing in a minute, but it's important that they're in Ireland for the interviews because we don't do them via Skype. So again, the deadline is 28th of October. So in terms of eligibility, the awards are open to Irish citizens or EU citizens living in the Republic of Ireland for the last 3 years or more. Applicants must demonstrate academic and personal excellence, a strong rationale for going to the US, a robust program of study, research or lecturing, strong leadership skills or potential, and understanding and commitment of the ethos of being a Fulbrighter. So the ethos of being a Fulbrighter is very much related to the reason why Senator Fulbright set up the awards to begin with, the idea of educational and cultural exchange. So that's something that we want you to get across in your application. The best way to do that is to find out what other alumni have done. We have lots of videos from alumni on our YouTube site, and we have testimonials as well on our website. So another stipulation is that you must be willing to comply with the 2-year home rule. This is part of the Fulbright visa that you would go on where you're successful in your application, and really, I suppose, goes with the idea of education exchange and bringing what you've learned in the US back to Ireland when you finish your Fulbright year. So the awards are not available for our dual US Irish citizens, green card holders, or those currently living in the US. And you must not have extensive experience of studying or living in the US. Don't worry, that doesn't apply to, if you've done J1 or anything like that in the US, that's absolutely fine. It would just be if you've lived in the US for the last 5 out of 6 years or something along those lines. So firstly, the Fulbright Irish Student Awards for postgraduate Irish or EU citizens. The monetary award, the maximum of $20,000 for the full academic year. These awards are for visiting researchers or degree-seeking students. Applicants must establish affiliation or apply for a degree course with US institution. So if you are a student applicant and you want to go and do a PhD or you want to go and do a master's, you need to apply for the course separately to your Fulbright application. Similarly, if you want to go and do research as part of your PhD, you would need to get in touch with the institution you have in mind in the US and seek affiliation. These student awards are for a minimum of 4 months and a maximum of 12 months. And again, the deadline is October 2016. So for the Irish Scholar Awards, these are for postdoctoral or professional Irish or EU citizens. The monetary award is a maximum of $15,000 for the full academic year. Applicants must possess a PhD or 5 years relevant professional experience. And the awards are to research or to lecture in the US. Again, for scholars, you must establish affiliation with a US institution. It's a good idea to have for your application to seek that affiliation to show, that you know where you're going, that you know who you want to work with, but it's not necessary to have the letter of affiliation until interview if you're shortlisted. So the Scholar Awards are for a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of 12 months. The Fulbright Tech Impact Scholar Awards are for information communications technology across all disciplines. The monetary award is a maximum of $12,000. These are for scholars or professionals in any discipline using ICT. Applicants must possess a PhD or 3 to 5 years relevant professional experience. And these awards are specifically for non-commercial research exploring the transformative power of communication technology across all disciplines. And we particularly encourage projects in education, mobile tech, digital arts, and cultural projects. These are shorter term awards, and they're for a minimum of 2 weeks and a maximum of 3 months. So for these awards, preference is given to early career researchers with PhDs conferred since 2012, as well as professionals. And then the last category is the FLTA Awards, the Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistantship Awards. These are to teach the Irish language. The grant is a maximum of $20,000 per year for the full academic year. Applicants who are successful in applying for the FLTA Awards would teach Irish and also take classes at US colleges. The grant includes room, board, tuition fees, stipend, travel, and programming in the US. Applicants should have a bachelor's degree, some teaching experience, and of course fluency in Irish. And these are for a maximum of 10 months in duration. So within our 4 categories, we have a number of sponsored awards. These are a number of the organisations who are supporting Fulbright Awards, in particular research and study areas. The Fulbright Enterprise Ireland Award for students and scholars in innovation is looking for projects or study that includes new technologies that will lead to job creation and increased exports. the Fulbright EPA Award in areas of water, climate change and sustainability, the Fulbright Marine Institute Award in marine science or business, the Fulbright GSI Award in geoscience. So all of these awards are available for students and scholars. And then we have a number of awards available for students only. The Fulbright LLM Awards. We have affiliation with the University of Notre Dame, Penn Law, and the Moore School of Law. So there are 3 opportunities in law for people who are prospective postgraduates, so going to do a master's over there. And the Fulbright NUI Visiting Researcher Award for a prospective PhD candidate, or a candidate registered on a doctoral program with an honours bachelor or master's degree from NUI or one of their member institutions. The Fulbright Teagasc Award is particularly in agriculture, forestry or food. So this year we also have one new scholar-only award, and that's the Fulbright HRB Health Impact Award for professionals. So this is specifically for mid-career health professionals to undertake research or professional development in any area of health. In terms of application, the application period is now open, as most of you know. It will close on the 28th of October 2016. Shortlisting will take place in November to December, and then interviews will usually be held January to February. So this is the kind of period that I mentioned you'll need to be in the country for the interviews should you be shortlisted. Then we make offers March to April, and we would usually host our Fulbright Award ceremony and our orientation in June, usually in May or June, and we would expect successful candidates to attend both of those. The orientation in particular is very important for preparing you for departure. So in terms of planning your application, I'd recommend that you review information on our website. There's a few more FAQs and things like that that we mightn't have covered today. You should choose an award category, whether you're a student, scholar, tech impact or FLTA. And then within that, if one of the sponsored awards is suitable for you, we'd recommend doing a little bit of research on that, because there may be less people applying for a specific sponsored award than there would for the general awards. So it could be worth investigating that. Find a course that you're interested in. If you're a student awardee, if you want to go and do a master's or a PhD, look into the course now. Similarly, if you're going to do research, plan your research proposal and get that together as soon as possible. And also research what it means to be a Fulbrighter, as I mentioned, the ethos of shared cultural and educational exchange, what you can bring over to the US and what you can bring back once you've been there on your Fulbright Award, and what your plan is, I suppose, in the long run, what you want to do with that knowledge. All of those things would fit into the ethos, and the more you find out really about Fulbright alum, the more that would help with this aspect of your application. And then, of course, if you haven't contacted our awards managers already, please do, and we'll send you out the Irish guidelines and the application link. So once you've confirmed you meet the eligibility criteria on the website, email awards@fulbright.ie. You'll just need to send your full name, your area of study or research, your home institution or organisation, where you intend to study or research, and what type of award you're applying for. We'll then issue you a link to the online application system, Embark. This is just a screenshot of the login page. And we'll also send you the 2017-2018 application guidelines. For the application, you'll be asked to submit a number of things, including your personal information and CV, your personal statement, your project statement, 3 references, transcripts, this is just for student applicants, samples of work. If you're an artist, you need to submit 4 hard copies of your work, samples of your work, and letter of affiliation. So this is the letter I mentioned for researchers or scholars, that it's good to set up as soon as possible. And also a copy of your passport will be required. And just to let you know that once you've completed the Embark online application, you then need to submit 2 hard copies of the application to us by post or by hand in advance of the deadline of 4 p.m. on 28th of October. So just a few tips. We would strongly advise you to print the guidelines that we send you, the Irish guidelines that our awards managers will send you, and use these as a step-by-step guide. Okay, the guidelines we send are specific to Irish applicants, and they'll differ from the general guidelines that you'll see on the online application system on Embark. And there's some tips as well, some guides in there on how to answer questions and compose your essays. In terms of your referees and the registrar's office, if you need transcripts, don't wait till the last minute. The way the referees work is that you would submit their email addresses. They would get a notification once you've submitted their email addresses on the Embark system, and they would be notified that you have asked for their reference, but we'd always advise that you follow up personally with them just to ensure that they have the reference in before the deadline, because your application won't be processed properly if those references aren't in. Similarly with the registrar's office, they can be quite busy at this time of year, so just to give them as much warning as possible if you need transcripts. Just a note on the personal statement. This is about you. Don't rehash your CV, so just talk about your successes, challenges you've overcome, whether they be academic or non-academic, and any personal challenges you've overcome as well. Sometimes people do mention. The project statement then is about what you intend to do, so the project you intend to do, the study you intend to undertake, why exactly you need to go to the US, why can't you do it here in Ireland or in Europe, and what you're going to do with it when you return, or in your field of expertise, how it's going to contribute to that, and why a Fulbright Award matters to you essentially as well. That idea of the ethos, the Fulbright ethos, why that's important to you. And then, as always, spell check is ever important. I've left the Fulbright Schumann Awards to the end here, because these are actually managed by the Fulbright Commission of Belgium. But Irish and EU applicants are eligible to apply. These are grants for study, research or lecturing in European Union, EU policies or EU-US relations. And the deadline for those awards is the 1st of December. So they're only opening this month, the Schumann Awards, and they have a later deadline of 1st of December. So if you want to find out a bit more about those, visit fulbrightschumann.eu. And just be aware that candidates can only apply to one commission in any 1 year. So you'd either apply to the Irish Commission or to the Belgian Commission. Now, and in terms of finding out more, we have recently nominated Fulbright ambassadors at a number of higher education institutions around Ireland. We have 16 ambassadors now, so you can check our website to see if there's a Fulbright ambassador on your campus, or of course you can contact us directly and we'll put you in touch with them. Similarly, contacting Fulbright alumni in your field of study or research is always a really good idea. They might have gone to the institution you want to go to, or have contacts in the US that could be helpful to you. So if you have a look at our website again, there's, for the past 5 or 6 years, we have short little biogs of all our alum, so you can see if any of them are relevant to you, and then just contact us to find their details. You can also subscribe to our Fulbright e-news. That's on our website. There's an option to sign up, or else you can contact me directly. Also, our social media channels, we're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We have lots of photos up on Flickr, lots of videos up on YouTube. We have a relatively new blog, Fulbright Ireland blog on Tumblr, with lots of testimonies from alum and from awardees who've just gone over to the US. And then on Instagram, we have loads of photos too. So it's handy to follow us on social media just to pick up some tips and some stories of alum who've gone to the US in the past. So just to find out more, I recommend you visit our website or get in touch with us. As I mentioned, we are here 9 to 5 during the week. We're available to take all your queries over the coming weeks, right up until the deadline. And please do get in touch with us sooner rather than later with your queries, because it does get quite busy towards up towards the end of the application period. So if you want now, I can open it up to questions. Hopefully you could all still hear me. And if you have any questions about the award categories or the sponsored awards or anything like that that you want to ask me now, please do on the chat box. I won't unmute you all because there's over 40 participants, so it might be we might be able to hear each other, but please feel free to type in any questions you have in the chat box. And if you prefer to ask us directly, that's absolutely fine as well. You can just contact us by email or by phone. So does anyone have any questions at the moment? Question in there, I've already received the link for your application but have not requested the NUI award. How do you go about that, or is it too late? No, it's not too late. So for the sponsored awards, it's just literally an extra sheet and you just fill it in and explain why you particularly want to apply for the NUI award. So if you just email awards@fulbright.ie, they'll send you through that form and you can just add it in. So there's no problem at all. And the thing with the sponsored awards as well is, as I mentioned, if you think one of them might be appropriate for you, go for it. And then if the sponsor, if your research or study isn't relevant to the sponsor, we'll just put you back in with the general awards kind of pool. So it won't, you're not limiting yourself by applying to the sponsored awards. Is that okay? Did that answer your question? If you are successful, what is the earliest date you can go to the US? I suppose usually it would be the academic year. So if you're applying to us before the 28th of October this year, you'd be going for, during the academic year 2017-2018. So generally people would go from July, August onwards. The academic year, if there's exceptional circumstances, you can, try, if for your research, you may be able to go earlier, but generally it's within that academic year. And of course, with the minimum being like 3 months, or even for Tech Impact, you can go for as short as 2 weeks. You can choose whatever time within that academic year you want to go. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Information. Okay, just a question in here. Let me just read it. Sorry. Go back up here. Can you be near the end of your PhD when applying, or do you have to be finished completely first? It depends what you're applying for. So I suppose if you're coming up to the end of your PhD and you're thinking of applying for a Scholar Award, yeah, you can apply, but you would need to be awarded your PhD before you go. So you might be offered an award pending, completion of your visa and things like that. That's for a student award, for a Scholar Award. But of course, people who are earlier on their PhD could apply for a student award to go and do some research. Could you explain a bit about the alternative funding piece? I won't be employed at the time. Postdocs, so will not have additional income. Does Fulbright generally cover the extent of expenses up to? So the Fulbright Award would usually be a stipend to cover your living expenses. Okay, so we would assess how much we think your living expenses would be for a period of time you're going for, and also to the area you're going, because obviously living costs will be very different in, New York or Montana. So we take all of that into account. Now, in terms of, I suppose, getting other funds as well to put in addition, some people, again, the sponsored awards sometimes can add to that, and some people, have. I can't guarantee it, but you can approach the host institution, and see if there's anything available there. But in terms of the stipend we supply, it would usually just be the maximum of the $15,000 for the first Scholar Award. What font size, line spacing and length of essays would you recommend? I believe that's all in our guidelines. So if you haven't received the guidelines yet, just shoot our awards manager an email and they'll send them to you, and they're really comprehensive. They really take you step by step through each question and let you know what it is exactly that you need to be doing. So have a good read through those if you haven't already, and then sure, definitely get in touch, ring us or email if you have any further questions afterwards. Just one more question here. The eligibility criteria: is the rule like the applicant needs to be living in Ireland for a minimum 3 years after getting the Irish citizenship? No, it's actually, you don't, as an EU citizen who's lived in Ireland for the past 3 years, you don't need to be an Irish citizen. You need, once you have EU citizenship and you've been living in Ireland for the past 3 years, that's fine as well. Yeah. Okay. Is there any other questions there? We have another couple of minutes. Eligibility criteria: how would you have to prove that you had lived in Ireland for the past 3 years? I suppose usually a lot of people who apply would have studied or would have been, enrolled in a course here. But if that wasn't the case, utilities or anything like that. But it usually applies to people who have been carrying out some kind of study or research here. But if you're an exception to that, just get in touch with us and we'll assess what your situation is and we'll let you know if you're eligible. Okay, well, we're nearly out of time anyway, so we might wrap it up now. But please do, as I say, get in touch with the awards manager if you haven't already, and just get those guidelines and the link to the online application and get started as soon as you can anyway, and then we can answer any more specific questions you have by phone or by email. And if you have any questions that you couldn't think of right now, but you think of in the next hours or days, feel free to get in touch with us. And as I said, I have recorded the presentation, so I'll upload the link to our website and I'll send it out to the list of participants today, so you can review the information if you like, or if you missed the start or have to log out at any stage. Just a last question now. For a non-EU citizen, do they have to be in Ireland for 3 years? Yeah, if you contact us directly, generally it's for non-EU students or citizens. Sorry, you'd need to apply through your the Fulbright Commission in your country of citizenship. But give us a ring or an email just with your specific circumstances, so we can make sure that's the case for you. Okay. So I'll send you all the presentation. Hope it was informative for you. And if you have any other queries, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Thank you all for taking part today, and we hope to see your applications in the future. Okay, thanks very much. Going to exit.